Ever look around and wonder why some people just seem to get money, while so many of us feel like we're stuck living paycheck to paycheck? Well, for millions, the aha moment came from Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This isn't your typical boring finance book. Oh no, this is all about totally rewiring the way you think about money. So, let's break it down.
The whole story starts with this really simple but powerful idea. Kiyosaki says he grew up with two dads, and their advice about money couldn't have been more different. This isn't just some personal anecdote, you guys. This is the setup for a lifelong battle between two completely opposite financial mindsets.
And here's where it gets really fascinating. The poor dad, that was his actual father, a brilliant man, highly educated with a PhD, but he was always struggling with money. The rich dad, that was his best friend's father, a guy who never even finished the 8th grade. Yet he became one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. So you have to ask, right? What on earth did the dropout know that the professor didn't?
And this, right here, sums up their two worlds perfectly. Poor Dad's advice was what we all hear. Study hard so you can find a good company to work for. It's the traditional employee mindset. But Rich Dad's advice was different. He said, study hard so you can find a good company to buy. Whoa, see that shift? It's employee versus owner. It's a tiny change in words, but it leads to a completely different life.
But here's the thing. For all their different ideas, Kiyosaki noticed that, in a way, both dads were kind of stuck. They were on the same hamster wheel so many of us are on. Get up, go to work, pay the bills, and then do it all over again. It's this relentless cycle. And Kiyosaki gave it a name.
He called it the rat race, and he said it's powered by two incredibly strong emotions, fear and greed. Think about it. The fear of not being able to pay your bills keeps you glued to your job. But then, when you get that paycheck, greed kicks in. You start dreaming about a nicer car or a bigger house, and poof, the money is gone. It's an emotional trap that just keeps you running in place.
Okay, so how do you escape this rat race? Well, Rich Dad's first big secret is a total game changer. It flips everything we've been taught about earning money completely upside down.
Here it is. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. I love this idea. Imagine that every dollar you have is a tiny little employee. Your goal isn't just to work harder yourself. It's to build a whole army of these dollar employees that go out and make more money for you, 24/7, even while you sleep. Now that's the goal.
That all sounds great, but how do you actually do it? How do you get your money to work for you? Well, it all comes down to Rich Dad's single most important rule. It's so simple, yet it's the one thing most people get totally wrong.
Forget all the complicated financial jargon. Kiyosaki's definitions are the only ones you need. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That's it. That's the entire game. The path to wealth is just to keep buying assets and avoid liabilities. Simple as that.
And this picture says it all. Look over here at Poor Dad's cash flow. Money comes in from a job and whoosh, it flows right back out to pay for expenses and liabilities. Now look at Rich Dad's. The money flows from his assets. And what does he do with that cash? He uses it to buy even more assets, which creates even more cash. It's a powerful, self-fueling engine for wealth.
All right, now for what might be the most controversial idea in the whole book. Rich Dad said your house is a liability, not an asset. Why? Because it's constantly taking money out of your pocket. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, repairs. It's a money drain. The point isn't that you shouldn't own a home. The point is to stop thinking that your biggest expense is your greatest asset. So when you boil it all down, all these lessons point to one critical insight. The real gap between the rich and the poor isn't in their bank accounts. It's in their heads. The real transformation has to start with your mindset.
And here's a perfect example. A simple but profound mental switch. Poor Dad's default response was, I can't afford it. And that phrase just shuts your brain down. It's an endpoint. But Rich Dad would ask a question instead. How can I afford it? That little question forces your brain to open up, to get creative, and to start problem solving. It turns a dead end into a doorway.
This distinction is absolutely crucial. Being broke is a temporary condition. It means you're out of cash right now. But being poor, that's a state of mind. It's a long-term belief that you'll just never have enough. You can be broke for a little while, but if you have the right mindset, you will never ever be poor.
So the book really leaves us with this one powerful question to ask ourselves. Take a good, honest look at your life and your money. Are you actively and intentionally building up your asset column, or are you just running on that treadmill, just paying bills? Because your answer to that question could be the very beginning of a brand new financial future.